Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Second to None podcast. My name is Matthew Bott. I serve as Worthy Grand Scribe. I'm a 1996 initiate of the Kappa chapter at Boise State. And today we're going to dive into Champion Quest. We have some outstanding undergraduate brothers from some of our highest performing chapters with us here today. We're in Charlottesville, Virginia for Champions Weekend. So we're going to hear from them and what works from their campus, what strategies they pursue to stay number one. So I'm excited for this episode. Thanks for joining. Let me run down the list here and have our brothers introduce themselves.
Alex Pete, Grand Master of the Epsilon Eta chapter at Bowling Green State University.
Seth Johnson, Grand Master at the Theta Zeta chapter at Eastern Mexico University.
Parker Christensen, Undergraduate Advisory Committee Area 4, Epsilon, Centenary College of Louisiana.
Christopher Pyle, a GM at the University of Washington Beta Psi chapter, Area 5 UAC.
Excellent. Thanks, brothers. So we got different campuses, campuses all across the country here represented at this table, and looking forward to hearing y'all's thoughts. So let me just kind of start off with a question for each of you. What do you attribute success with Rush on your campus? All four of your chapters just dominate and did so last year, and I think did so this fall. So what do you attribute that success to? Just take 30 seconds and share some thoughts there.
I can take over. So we break up Rush into, it's not a week-long process. It's not a month-long process. It's not just the IFC's formal week of Rush. It is a year-long process. Everybody's all in. It's all hands on deck. Everybody understands that. And I attribute that to starting a winning culture within the fraternity. And once you establish that type of culture, everybody's all hands in, and you don't go for numbers. People will buy into your culture, and you go from there.
Nice.
No, exactly what he was saying. It's persistence. For the way we do it, it's a 3-week period. Okay. There's no formal rush. We're just attacking, and it takes all hands on deck. And if you're not in, then you're out. If you're not with us, you're against us kind of deal. But we love it, and we're here for it, and we plan hard for it. And that's what fraternity's about.
Great. You have fun with it?
I do.
With Rush?
I do.
Nice.
Just like they said, just attack, rush as best you can. It's 365 days a year. One thing we like to do is break it down by sport. We have a lot of sports on campus, and so locker room recruiting. If you're already friends with a guy or his teammate, it's a lot easier to recruit him.
Nice.
Yeah, we're another 365-day-a-year chapter, and another big thing that we do is we get every single member involved. So there's an expectation that if you're in Beta Psi, you're going to have something to show for your recruitment effort at the end of the year. I think that makes a huge difference.
That's a key point because if you're operating at half your strength with only 20 guys out there recruiting, you're not really doing it. So if you have every guy has a job, every guy's working hard, every guy's bought into the vision, willing to do what it takes to get the best guys, that's awesome. And I think that's a common thread with probably all your chapters. So at Centenary has what, 900 students? So something like that.
650 this year.
Okay. And how big is your chapter?
22.
22. And how big is your normal rush? Your big rush you had recently?
Biggest rush we've had in a semester is 14.
14 guys. Okay. So you have a pretty big footprint on the campus, and you work hard to, even though it's a small campus, you guys go after every guy. Can you tell me a little bit about your rush strategy?
Yeah. So the best strategy we have is locker room recruiting. With Centenary's demographic of athletes to non-athletes, we can recruit guys that we're already friends with, that we're already teammates with. But a second big advantage we have is a never-ending P&M list. So if a guy pledges, he gets taken off the list. If he's not taken off the list, he's still P&M.
Still on the list, yeah.
No matter what. And so we have a couple of brothers who are student ambassadors for the college.
Okay.
And so any incoming freshman male immediately gets put onto that list.
Okay.
And gets contacted. There's no excuse for a guy not to be on that list and not be messaged by an active brother.
Good. So managing a good prospect list or P&M list, and really that work never ends. You're always adding great guys to that list so you can track them and keep in touch with them. So I know in Eastern New Mexico, you guys just dominate and have for decades. What I love about what you guys do, it's an intense couple weeks really of rush. I mean, it's like early in the morning, late at night. Walk us through, take a minute to walk us through what a given maybe day or week is in the Theta Zeta rush.
100%. In the mornings, the officers will have their morning rush meetings. So it'll just be the officers will be like 7:30, and then we'll go around the house. We'll wake everybody up, make sure everyone's getting going by 8 o'clock. Whether that means guys are going to classes or they're going out to the gyms or going out on campus to go find some dudes. And then about 3 o'clock, we go out on campus. We do like a little activity, like whether we're playing kickball, volleyball, football. Just try to get people involved, suck people in. Right after that, we'll do a afternoon rush meeting, kind of go through who we met in the day, who we talked to, where we're at with this guy, and then we'll go on with whatever we're doing that night. It could be an activity or we could just be hanging out, and then we'll have a night rush meeting probably around 11 o'clock, kind of close out the day, go through everything, make sure we have a plan for tomorrow, and we'll just do that.
Nice.
Every day for 3 weeks.
And everyone participates, right? No one.
I mean, we have a very high participation,
Yeah.
especially this past rush. I mean, that's what it takes, though. And
Yeah. And how long is your? I mean, you do that for what, a week, 2 weeks?
it'll be a 3 week. It's a
3 week
period.
process. So
Yes, sir.
3 week every day. Rush teams meeting, coordinating. It's a campaign, right?
It is.
It is great. That's great. How about at Bowling Green?
Yeah. We're big on spreadsheets. So, I mean, nowadays with social media, it's easier than ever to find out who's coming to your university. There's class pages, whatever it may be. But we get a spreadsheet of all the male freshmen incoming kids, and then we kind of split it up depending on once we find out more information, reach out to them, obviously through socials, get them to our events, talk to them. We're big on majors, like, oh, you're an aviation major. My buddy so-and-so is an aviation major. You'd love talking to him. Any little small interest you find in any of these guys, you can push them towards like-minded individuals within your chapter already, and boom, you already have a connection, and that'll lead to more. But in terms of rush, I mean, it starts over the summer. You reach out early, you get them going, you get your name out there to all these guys before you touch foot on campus. And once you get on campus, it's boom, boom, boom. It's just small interactions. Obviously, social media is nice nowadays to reach out, but it's those in-person interactions that really do count. I mean, I remember when I rushed, like, even getting a ride late at night from wherever, asking to go out with a freshman or whatever it may be, those interactions are where it really makes a difference, and it leaves an impression on these kids, and you leave your letters in their mind.
Yeah. So we do a lot of stuff on social media. We do a lot of stuff over email, a lot of text. But at the end of the day, it's talking to somebody, letting them know that you're impressed with them. You would like them to invite them to be, explore the, Kappa Sigma Brotherhood, and that face-to-face work is key. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, Brother Paul, I want to ask you to walk through. You guys have developed a pretty innovative strategy on a huge campus where you used to be, frankly, a pretty average chapter, and now you guys are just killing it. So walk us through, just take maybe 2 minutes to talk about the team structure you have, how you keep everybody involved, what the results of those efforts have been, if you could, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So Beta Psi is very unique in that we don't have a single strategy that we pursue, and none of our strategies yield more than 10 people across the entire year. But what we found is that...
Well, let me sorry to interrupt you. So how many guys did you pledge this fall?
This fall was 58, and then the prior spring was in the low 30s, and then we do 3 quarters, so our winter before that was about 20.
So that's another good point. But so the fall it was 50-something?
58, yeah.
So 58 guys, and then you just said we have different strategies that each yield like 10 guys. So unpack that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so when you break it up, for example, a major one that we rely on, and I would say every chapter should do this, is when we do have new members pledged. One of the parts of their first quarter is being very active in the rush process. So they're reaching out to their roommates, they're walking around the dorms, they're bringing people out. That's kind of one of our directions. And then we have like some brothers supervising that, teaching them how to do it. So that's like one strategy. Another strategy is like we have posters. Smaller strategy, but that's yielded us 4 or 5 guys across the year.
Posters,
and that's just
putting up posters all over campus.
Yep, all over campus.
Where other fraternities aren't. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won't see any other poster other than a Kappa Sigma poster at University of Washington.
Okay.
Then formal rush, that's one strategy. It should never be treated as a main avenue, but it's one direction.
Right.
And so those kind of add up in sum, and each rush chair is responsible for their own strategy, so they can't hide behind the accountability, hide in accountability like, oh, well, the whole team underperformed. It's like if your strategy didn't work, you underperformed.
Okay, great. And obviously you guys are pretty innovative. You try stuff, and if it doesn't work, you readjust. That's awesome, and I think that's pretty impressive. You also, Brother Powell, brought up something I want us all to talk about and really get across to our listeners and our viewers is that every campus is different. I mean, we know that, right? But there's a lot of through lines in what we want to do to kind of stay number one and recruit the best guys into our brotherhood. We know we can't just rely on an IFC like formal rush. The guys that want to be in a fraternity and want to go shopping and see where they land. We'll take those guys. A lot of great guys in that group. But we know it takes much more than that. Beforehand, afterwards, having new pledges recruit their friends in the first week or two of their pledge program was a great strategy. But from the international fraternity's perspective, that sort of leaning forward and not just relying on what comes through a formal rush that's controlled by an IFC is key. So I'd love to hear from each of you how your chapter goes beyond just what walks through your door. How are you proactive to go out and get additional people? You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, most of it's just being present on campus. Whether you're meeting guys in your classes, you're meeting guys at the gym, you're meeting guys just walking around, library, whatever it is, and it's just making a friend. I mean, that's what it boils down to, and I think sometimes we try to overcomplicate it or throw the fancy terms on it, but all it is you're just going out and meeting your fellow classmates and making friends and getting them.
And so throughout your membership, that's the expectation, right? It's not just like I show up at a Rush event and I talk to some guys and I go do homework. It's like, hey, it's like the whole time during Rush, really all year, you're being proactive and you're
it's
talking to
continuous.
people.
Even though we finish Fall Rush, that doesn't mean that we don't save some of the contacts that we made or some of the guys that maybe dropped out during pledgeship that we want to try to rush again next semester, and we start developing that kind of list pretty early on. Nice. And it keeps going.
Perfect.
I mean, yeah, as a Kappa Sigma, it should be your obligation to be rushing at all times. It is the backbone of the fraternity. If you have a bad rush, you're going to see it in all aspects of your Greek life or of the fraternity. I would say that I really liked being personable. Really, just you're at the end of the day, you're making a friend. A lot of fraternities come to us and they ask us how we rush, and when you really boil it down, there's no exact wording that you need to talk to these guys about. You are genuinely just talking to somebody. You're trying to make a friend. You're being personable. You want to leave an impression on them that how you carry yourself as a gentleman throughout your daily life should be an exact representation of what our fraternity stands for.
Nice. And
you're basically promoting your fraternity through how you act on a daily life.
Right.
And if people see that through, they'll keep coming around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You guys like anything to add?
Especially with people seeing you, treat everything like a Rush event. If you're out on campus doing some sort of philanthropy, and there's going to be P&Ms walking by and checking out your table or asking, what is Military Heroes? What are you raising money for? And that is a great way to get in, especially on some who may have a different perspective of Greek life and don't necessarily see that philanthropic part of it first.
Great. Chris, anything to add?
Yeah, I would say I completely agree with what's been said. And I kind of want to counterweight it with one pitfall that I have seen with purely the friend direction, because it is truly just making friends. But then another thing you want to be careful of is to not take too much time on a single person for the recruitment chair's focus. Like I usually have our rush chairs will focus on a guy for his first time out. We're usually pretty quick to give a bid if we think they're going to be a good fit and let the pledge process handle it from there. But if there's a guy who's more on the fence, we move on for our star players. They're like effort and focus to New Horizons, and then we kind of keep that guy in the loop, maybe assign another brother to talk to him at the event, follow up with him, things like that. But I do think you have to be very careful about, sometimes I hear rush chair say, I've been chasing these 3 great guys for 2 weeks, and that's a big mistake that can get you.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it sounds like what maybe all of you do this is like a guy that's you're interested in possibly giving a bid. You kind of have somebody assigned to him, somebody that can follow up with him, make sure he knows that we're interested, make sure his questions are answered. Sometimes you're talking to his parents. These are all good strategies. I know probably everybody follows. I want to ask a question about, sometimes, you go out with a big rush goal, and sometimes there's a couple brothers who are like, why do we want to hit that big goal? That's too many guys. Or why are we spending so much time on recruitment? From what I've always seen, and certainly true in my undergraduate years, is you start out your year with a great rush effort, with a great pledge class. It sends a message, and it sets the tone for the year. It brings morale and motivation, and everybody's up, and frankly you're winning. When you get the best pledge class on campus, and then there's all the other knock-on effects of having a strong recruitment performance, in that you have more manpower on your campus, your service events are huge, your just buzz and your brand on campus is just better and bigger. How do you overcome somebody who's trying to, in the chapter, who might not want to participate or not want to, strive for the best you can be with a great recruitment effort? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what you need to do is find what they're hoping to get out of the fraternity and hit on that. So let's say you have a guy who's questioning rush and he's big on social events. Mm-hmm. Explain to him that the more guys you get, the more money you have, and the better social events you can have. And hopefully that appeals to his sort of questioning the greater goal.
Yeah, good. So within the code of conduct, obviously, but making sure that, we want to have a bigger presence on campus with social events and do unique stuff that's, that can be an enjoyable and safe, opportunity for our members. That's a great point. What else?
Well, I'll add to that.
Sure.
It's kind of like I said earlier, if you're not with us, then you're against us, right? So if you don't want to be active during this rush, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time with you trying to motivate you or get you pumped up or ready for it. I'm going to take the guys that are on board and motivated and ready to kick some butt with me and go get that pledge class.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of going to say, as a continuation of that, if you're not growing, you're dying. Fraternities are of a very short life cycle for any individual chapter. And if you have even a single bad year, you feel it for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And so I think a big thing I always highlight is I point out everything we have right now and make it clear that this is temporary on a basis of months. If there's not a good rush effort next fall, that these things are going away and we are sliding backwards. It's impossible to stay stagnant.
Yeah.
So you have to pick. Either you're all in on rush or you're going to have a worse year next year than this year. But,
Good point.
Yeah, all great points. I liked how we brought up whatever you may like getting out of the fraternity, whether it be social events, BIAs, whatever it may be, it all comes back to rush.
Yeah. So no, I think you're. It's about a winning attitude. I think is what you're talking about.
100%.
And you want to. This is where it starts.
Yeah.
This is the culture it starts with. We're going to wrap up here in about 2 minutes, but I wanted to kind of ask one more thing. Is our brand is very simple. It's a brotherhood like no other. And for over 150 years in North America, we've been providing this great experience to undergraduate men who seek a values-based experience, and we offer excellence in scholarship, leadership, fellowship, and service. We have a zero tolerance policy for hazing. We have a code of conduct that talks about following the rules and having a truly great leadership development and brotherhood experience. And frankly, most people most men on campuses today want that experience, want that brotherhood, want that career development, the networking that goes with it. Would you guys have anything to offer on, do you see that on your campus from guys who, at the end of the day, that's what they're seeking?
I think so. I think, guys want kind of belong, and especially if you played sports all your life, you're used to that kind of locker room environment. You go to college and here's your group of guys or whatever it is, but there's so much that the fraternity offers and it fits so many different types of people. I think that's what makes us unique, and that's why it gets such great interest.
Great. Anything else on that?
Yeah, and I would say, and what I tell a lot of the young guys coming to college and sort of what they're looking for is, you're probably going to make friends no matter what you do, right? That's a normal part of being a student. But this is a very unique opportunity to walk away from your first couple months and have a guaranteed set of best friends for the rest of your life. And you're going to have a professional network from your college, but you're going to get a second one through Kappa Sigma. And so I always just highlight that it's a massive opportunity to amplify your experience in a way that you cannot get outside of Greek life.
Nice.
I think fraternity just gives you such a place to belong and a group of people that are like-minded, and you can surround yourself with, as Brother Pyle said, some of your best friends for life. But it also, on a personal note, like when you go home for a break longer than a week, by the end of it, you just want to get back with your brothers. I think everyone here can agree with that the thing you miss most is the brotherhood and the people you surround yourself with, and Kappa Sigma provides that.
Nice. Anything else to add?
Brotherhood like no other.
Nice. Right. Well, last thing I'm going to ask you guys to do, and just take 15 seconds or so, is, we're going to have thousands of listeners tuned into this here in a few weeks, and what would be your charge to them for the spring rush? What would you say?
Keep after it. Keep going.
Yeah, attack, man.
Attack.
Be resilient and want it more than the other guy.
Find your record on kappasigma.net and break it.
Nice.
Get your new members from fall involved and set quotas for individual members in your chapter.
Set quotas and goals.
Yeah, that's big. Getting your new guys involved. I mean, they're especially in spring. Those fall pledges, those fall new guys, they are the biggest part of your rush class or biggest part of rush in spring. They better be talking to kids in class, whether it be class, the rec, anywhere on campus, reaching out. It's huge.
Awesome. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for contributing here today. Appreciate having representation from Bowling Green, from Centenary, from University of Washington, and from eastern New Mexico. You guys are great. You're leaders, and we appreciate you helping us move this forward. So,
Thank you for having
signing
us.
off
Thanks for
from
having us.
Second to None.
Hey.
Thanks so much.